Hello dear students, hope you all are doing well. In this video, I am going to share with you a very interesting chapter. Chapter 1, The Third Level by Jack Finney from your supplementary reader in English class 12th. And I request all of you to please watch this video till the end. And I'm sure that if you watch this video till the end, you will surely enjoy. The third level story by Jack Finney starts with a very interesting question. There is a question given on first page before you read part. Have you ever had any curious experience which others find hard to believe? Then the answer will, I think, surely be yes, because at some point of time, all of us face something unusual, strange, when we want to share those experiences, those things with the other people, so they really find hard to believe on what we say. So similarly, our protagonist, Charlie, also faces something unusual in his life, and when he tries to make other people believe on what he was saying, so they find hard to believe what he was saying. This story actually takes us to a different kind of a world, a parallel world, where everything seems to be so beautiful, so peaceful, so perfect. You can relate the story that you studied last year, The Adventure, to this story, The Third Level, and also a very famous movie, Narnia, where a girl enters into a different kind of a world. And when she comes back and when she tries to make other people believe on what she was saying, so they also find hard to believe on what she was saying. Page 1 of this chapter explains what happens when he shares his experience with his family, with his friends. And page 2 is the beginning of his journey to the third level. Charlie says that the presidents of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two levels. Two levels where? 2 levels at Grand Central Station. But Charlie says, no, there are 3 levels. Why he was confident that there are total 3 levels? Because on the third level he had been. And he was so confident in that. And when he comes back and when he shares this thing to his friend, Sam Weiner. Who is Sam Weiner? Sam Weiner was his psychiatrist friend. Sam Weiner does not believe on his story. He says that because Charlie was unhappy with his present world, because his present world, he thought that his present world was full of war, insecurity, fear, worry. Therefore, Charlie was unhappy with his present world. And when Charlie's wife comes to know that Charlie was unhappy with his present world, she was also upset. Sam Weiner says that was nothing like a waking dream wish fulfillment. Waking dream wish fulfillment means, suppose we have some desire in our heart, so we start imagining about those things, that those things are fulfilled, that we have reached to our destination, that we have reached to the place where we desire. And his friends also agreed with what Sam Weiner was saying. He said that Sam Weiner said that that was, the things that he was doing, Charlie was doing, all those things together, they showed that he was finding a temporary refuge from his present world. Sam Weiner says that a stem collection of Charlie shows that Charlie was finding a temporary refuge from his reality. But Charlie does not agree with what Sam Weiner was saying, because according to Charlie, if a person has this hobby of collection of stamps, so it does not mean that that person wants to run away from his reality, because he says that his grandfather also did that stamp collection, and the collections that he received from his grandfather only. And Charlie says that at the time of his grandfather, the things were pretty nice, beautiful, peaceful. And also he says that even President Roosevelt he was also fond of collecting stamps. So it doesn't mean that he was unhappy with his present world, with his reality. And you cannot say that if we do that, so we want to run away from our reality. And now Charlie explains how he enters into the third level. One night he was late at his work and he wanted to go home early, and that was the night time. So usually he would take the bus, but because that was the night time and he wanted to reach his house faster, so therefore he went to the Grand Central Station to take the subway, because that subway was faster than the bus. He says here that I don't know why this should have happened with me. I was a simple, ordinary person, and my age was 31 years only, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band, and I was not trying to escape from anything, and I just wanted to get to my house to meet my wife Louisa. Then he says he turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level, where you take trains like the 20th Century. Then he walked the another flight and went down to the second level. He says he turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level, where you take trains like the 20th Century. Then he walked down another flight and reached the second level, where the suburban trains leave from. And then he entered an arched doorway and got lost. Let's read some lines from the text. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times, but I am always bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. So he thought that this new place could also be a new tunnel that would take him to some other place. Let us read a few more lines from the text to describe this third level. The corridor I was in began angling left or turning left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps and didn't pass a soul or a person. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead that means open space and people talking. The tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment I thought I was back on the second level, but I saw the room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. The man in the booth wore a green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors, means covers for sleeves. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Then I saw why. They were open flame gas lights. They were brass spittoons, means vessels to spit into, on the floor, and across the station a glint or a reflection or flash of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. He snapped open, means opened with a jerk, the cover, glanced at his watch and frowned. He wore a derby hat, means a hat that looks like a bowler's hat or hat with rounded crown. He wore a derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels. Lapels means folded part of a coat or a jacket that is joined to the collar. and he had a big black handlebar mustache. Means mustaches that look like a cycle's handle. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves. Means a sleeve on a woman's garment, loose on the arm, but close fitting at the wrist, and skirts on the top of her high buttoned shoes. Back of her, out of the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive, a railway engine, a very small Currier and Ives locomotive with a funnel shaped stack. Curriers and Ives, it was a successful American printing firm based in New York City from 1835 to 1907. And Currier and Ives locomotive with a funnel shaped stack. And then I knew. And I knew. Knew what? That Charlie was on a different kind of level. Another level, third level, in a different world, in a part of history. To make sure, he went to a newsboy, and he saw that at his feet, the feet of the newsboy, he saw that there was a stack of newspapers, and the name of the newspaper was The World. The World hasn't been published for the last many years, and he saw that the lead news on the World newspaper was about President Cleveland. President Cleveland was 22nd and the 24th President of the US, and he died in 1908. So that was surely a very old story. And the date printed on that newspaper was 11th June 1894. Then he turned to the ticket window because he wanted to buy 2 tickets for his wife, Louisa, and for himself to go to Galesburg, Illinois. And why he wanted to go to that place? Because that place was really a very beautiful place, especially in the year 1894. And in these lines, he glorifies the beauty of that place. Have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town, still with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long, and people sat out on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly, the women waving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around in a peaceful world. To be back there with the First World War still 20 years off, and World War II over 40 years in the future. I wanted 2 tickets for that. Why? Because there was peace at that time. No wars, no insecurity, no fear. And when he gave the money to the person, the clerk who was sitting at the ticket counter, he seems to be doubtful. Because when he saw the the person who was sitting at the ticket counter, the clerk saw the money. He saw that the currency that he was giving this man, that was fake currency. Because Charlie was using the modern currency. And that was what time? That time was the time of 1894. So he gave him an angry look and also tried to threaten him to call the police. So therefore, Charlie was afraid and he ran away from that place within no time. Why? Because everything was so beautiful during that time, but jails were bad. So Charlie came out of the 3rd level. And but the desire was still there, and he wanted to go to that place again, but for that he needed the old currency notes. So the next day during the lunch hour, he went to the bank and he withdrew $300, and with those $300 he bought 200 old style bills, old style notes, and he continued his search for this 3rd level again. and but his wife was not happy with this. So the wife wanted him to stop his search, and so he saw that the wife was unhappy, wife was worried, so he paused his search. And after some time, he came to know that his friend Dr. Sam Wiener, his psychiatrist friend, he was missing. Where he could go, he was doubtful. And one night, while Charlie, he was spending his time with his stamps once again, because he went back to that. So he found a new first day cover, different looking first day cover that he never saw. And what is a first day cover? The book says, when a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of the sale, and the post mark proves the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. They are never opened. You just put blank paper in the envelope. So that night he found a different looking first day cover that someone mailed to the address of his grandfather, Charlie's grandfather, to his address in Galesburg. But the point is that envelope was not empty. There was a paper inside that envelope. And what was that? That was a letter written to Charlie. Someone in the history mailed that envelope, that first day cover, to the grandfather, to his grandfather. But the letter was for Charlie. Isn't it amazing? The letter goes like this. Let us read that letter. The address mentioned on the letter was 941 Villiard Street, Galesburg, Illinois. And the date was July 18, 1894. The letter goes like this. Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. I've been here for 2 weeks, and right now, down the street at the Dailies, someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing Seeing Nellie Home. What was this Seeing Nellie Home? It was an American song first published in the 1850s under the name When I Saw Sweet Nellie Home. It was composed and arranged by John Fletcher. Francis Kyle is said to have written the lyrics. And let's continue the letter. And I am invited over for lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. The note is signed Sam. After reading this letter, Charlie got extremely curious and he went to the store for coins and stamps. And there he found out that Charlie bought $800 in the old currency, and that could be sufficient to start a little hay, feed and grain business. Hay, feed and grain business. Why? Do you remember what was his profession? He was a psychiatrist, and his profession was of no use in 1894, because at that time people were not mentally ill, they were mentally fit, they were happy, they were in peace. So therefore he could not go for his profession. And the person who was opposing, or the person who was disagreeing with what his friend was facing, now he himself, this friend Sam Wiener, he has reached to this third level. And you must be thinking that how this boy Charlie got that mail. Sam Wiener, he was in the history in 1894. So from there he wrote a letter. He mailed a letter to the grandfather of Charlie, and Charlie was using the old stamps of his grandfather. So in this way he got the collection of his grandfather, and in the collection of the grandfather there was one letter that he never saw, Charlie never saw, and that letter was of Sam Wiener. Sam Wiener, who was saying that Charlie was, having a problem of waking dream wish fulfillment. Now he himself now enters into the place where he was, his friend Charlie had been, and he was not believing on his friend. So this is the end of the chapter. Though this chapter is quite complicated, a mysterious chapter, but I'm sure that this video will surely help you to understand this chapter completely. Thank you.